Hello and welcome to phase 4 of the Beyond Compulsion Academy program. And in today's video, we're going to be talking about unanswerable questions. This is a crazy concept which makes total sense now to me, but it did take me a bit of time to really wrap my head around all of this. Having worked with guys now for the last 12 months or so, I have received so many questions that are unanswerable and are designed to get people into a state of helplessness, a state of deprivation, and to eventually go, fuck it, I'm going to go back to the compulsion. So, Mary, you obviously taught this concept to me. Do you want to kind of just share a bit more about unanswerable questions and then we'll go through a few examples?
Yeah, well, it took a long time for me to figure this out because I had the unanswerable questions going on working with food compulsives for many, many years. And then we see the same thing happening with the pornography. But the thing is it there's a lot being taught that to be analytical, to be mindful is a big one, right? All the mindfulness and to like question like what are you feeling, right? So all of that seems like a good idea to like kind of slow down and go, what am I feeling here? Am I wanting to engage in my compulsive behavior because I'm feeling angry or whatever? The Overeaters Anonymous even have a thing called halt.
Mm.
Hungry, angry, lonely, tired, analyzing how you feel. But what I come to learn is that after studying this for many many years is that these questions, they're all unanswerable. You can't answer them definitively. I talk about it in phase 3 a bit, but they
Mm.
come up before people even stop. Sometimes before they
Mm.
stop the behavior, they come up definitely in withdrawal, and they come up even later, so it's really important to understand that when you're questioning yourself, that is part of the compulsive pathways in your brain that are trying to create a state of confusion, right? In my book, Beyond Food Compulsion, there's a whole entire chapter called, well, a segment of a chapter called The Land of Confusion, where the addictive part of the mind intentionally tries to get you questioning, to get you off of option A and option B. And it's very effective. And one of the most important things, too, is when these questions come up, like, just a basic example, oh, is this reasonable behavior or am I being compulsive? You're trying to answer this question that is pretty ambiguous. It's like, okay, well, what are we really talking about here? And then you start to ask yourself another question, and you would think that the addictive part of the mind would say, no, no, you're not being compulsive, go ahead and do it, right? But that's not how it works. While you're stewing, trying to figure out what you're not able to figure out, it says, yes, you are being compulsive, therefore you can't do it, you have to use your script, and all this deprivation thinking. So then now you're already in this kind of obsessive state. Now let's add feelings of deprivation to the pot, right? And now you really start going, and then it's like, oh my God. And then all a slew of questions come, feelings of deprivation. And then, like you said, that leads to helplessness and then leads to fuck it.
The story about the board as well that you had with compulsive eaters.
Yeah, it literally reminds me of it, except for I was writing on a whiteboard with my hand, and not on sticky notes, but yeah, they when I started to realize how this went, um I started asking people, how are you being, productive and analytical, and trying to figure out if you're being compulsive with food or not. And there was just a slew of questions. I ran out of room on the board, and then they were all just like looking at the board like they look so sad and depressed and stressed out, like, what's wrong, you guys? And they're like, oh God, this is where I live, in this spin of questions that can't be answered. And yeah, and then it was good to get them to see that we took each and every question and showed how you can't answer it definitively and how the addictive part of the mind would answer it, like I said before, in a way that would get you into deprivation thinking. Yeah, it's a tough one. It really is. And there's so much resistance to it because, and like I was saying before, the people, our clients need to recognize that the resistance to not engaging in these questions comes from the addictive part of the mind. But what it is the addictive part of the mind posing as the rational self. I talk about it in phase 3. I think I do. It's been a while since I watched the videos, but it's
You do. Yeah.
it's a poser, and it's posing as a productive, analytical, mindful entity. And it's not, it's a ploy. So yes, it's very
Yeah.
important to disengage from the questioning. Yeah.
So yeah, anyway, this was one of my first ones. So yeah, is listening to music compulsive? Is this relationship compulsive? Have I really changed my neural pathways, or have I just replaced and substituted porn for other things? Am I spending too much time on YouTube? Am I eating compulsively? Am I working too much? Has my work become compulsive? Is this the spin? Is this behavior reasonable? Should I ask Mary about these thoughts? So yeah, as you say, in the first few weeks, we would message very often. I would be sending you messages like this all the time, and you would just help me understand them better. Now, obviously, this is just a classic case of the spin, and we could go through loads more. And yeah, let's just start, I guess, from self-doubt,
Sure.
because self-doubt, there's a lot here. People don't feel sure of themselves when they're going through this process. And what's funny about it is that it is just the addictive part of the mind. And so often they're doing the work whilst feeling like they're not doing the work. What I mean by that is people will literally be changing their neural pathways, doing everything right, literally using their script. And yet there's still a part of their mind going, am I doing something wrong here? Right. And it's like, yeah, well, that is just the
Yeah.
compulsion. So anyway, let's get even more clear on this. So
Yeah,
let's
you're
go
doing
through it
something
too.
wrong engaging in the
Yeah.
questioning. What's interesting is with when I was working with food compulsion pretty much exclusively for a while there,
Mm,
I was having a certain level of success because people were using their script, right? And they're like, oh, okay, I get this. I know what's going on. And I can, they were getting a certain level of freedom. But then this started. Then the questioning started. And like I said, I wasn't onto it then. I was trying to help people answer these questions until I
mm,
was just like, I can't do this anymore. I'm going to go crazy. So and then once I figured this out and created the mini script, which we have for the guys,
mm,
um, success increased dramatically.
mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes
So
sense.
yeah,
I'm not surprised. So yeah,
yeah.
if I don't use the script straight away, will I relapse? Did I use the script enough today? Am I slacking? Did I look at that woman earlier too long? And by the way, the arrows here are for when this is like a client's messages to us, and they've like sent one message, then they've sent another, then another, then another. So that's why I've like chained them together in a link. And yeah, it's just classic, trying to get
So
in the spin.
this is like one client asking a question and then asking another question,
Yeah,
asking another, right? Yeah.
that's right.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
But that's how it works.
Yeah.
Once you engage with that first question, because if I don't use the script straight away, will I relapse? That has nothing to do with connecting to the neural pathway of compulsive desire, staying out of feelings of deprivation. Fact 3, stop denying the reality of addiction and making a choice between option A and option B. Has nothing to do with it. If I don't use the script straight away, will I relapse? Okay, you can't answer that question. Can you? Can you try? I mean, it's like, no, you can't answer that question.
Yeah. This is what it
But
all
I'll tell
comes
you
back
what,
to.
instead of using the script, this person goes to the next question. Did I use the script enough today? Am I slacking? Okay, now here we go. Woohoo! Where's option A and option B? Gone out the window.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
That's it.
that
Yeah, because
works.
option A and option B are here. You've got the script, so you've got a tool to give you the ability to actually think through option A, option B. So you either choose to use that tool and think through your choices, or you start to engage in these questions and just go deeper and deeper and deeper, feeling compulsive, feeling terrible, and then eventually you're probably going to go, right, I want to get out of these feelings. because it's all part of the discomfort, it's all part of the addiction. So
Yeah,
then you choose to engage because you're just ignoring your script the whole time, right? So
right.
next one, am I doing something wrong? Am I using the script correctly? Was I
Same
already
thing.
compulsive?
Yep,
Again, let's
same
just
thing.
get straight back to the script, break it down to option A or option B. What if I
Yes.
don't actually want to engage my compulsive behavior for a while? Do I still use my script? Does it make sense to periodically read through the script, even on days when you're not thinking about or feeling the withdrawal, just as a reminder to be aware? Any thoughts
Okay,
on that?
now if you're questioning whether or not it's time to change the oil in your car, okay, well, there's a question you can engage with. Any question that has to do with using your script, your compulsive behavior, is it reasonable? Should I be looking at this YouTube? Should I, all this? Any question that has to do with your compulsion on any level or any compulsive behavior, go to your script. Because the thing is I see the vortex happening on all these because one question leads to another question, to another question, to another question. That's because the questions can't be answered. That's why you ask another question.
Yeah.
You
If
know,
you're
it's
thinking about reading your script at some time in the future and you're unsure on whether you should read your script regularly enough or not, and you're thinking about your script and you're thinking about compulsion, that will be your desire to engage in your compulsive behavior. That will be some wanting, and that's the addictive part of the mind talking in your mind. So therefore, what we want to do is use the script.
what does the
Now,
mini script say? The mini script says questioning is, there we go. Thank you. I know that questioning if I'm wanting to engage in my compulsive behavior is my that or if my desire is compulsive is wanting to engage in my compulsive behavior. So however that questioning is disguised, if it's am I using my script enough, is my am I using it correctly, am I going to be this in the future, all of the whole list that we were just looking at, questioning, this big question mark right here, this is your the cue. It's like, okay, I'm questioning myself. That is part of the compulsive neural pathways that need to be changed. Otherwise, you're just going to live spinning out all the time and ultimately not using your script to make your choice between A and B and not making any permanent changes. You just keep spinning and remaining in deprivation thinking and feeling helpless. And it's a ploy. So, yep. And of
yeah,
course, we always go back to the one relevant question: what am I choosing to do and why? That's going to get you out of that. Just wait, hold the bus here, hold the bus, questioning myself. What am I choosing to do and why? The one relevant question. And if the guys would just please hammer that home, and go to the script when they're questioning, like my compulsive eaters, we can have another level of success. Yeah.
hmm
It's so
absolutely.
important. So important. Yeah.
Yeah, I have so many thoughts on how am I going to do this. I've tried so many methods. How is this going to work? So
Yeah.
again,
Again,
it's just future thinking. It's the spin. Because in that moment, if you're thinking about how's it going to work in the future, it is part of the spin. It's part of the mind. So just use the script because change takes place in the moment. So moment by moment, you always have your opportunity, your choice, and you are empowered to change your own neural pathways correctly. And you have a tool to do that. So if you're thinking about the future on any level, you're thinking about engaging on any level, in that moment, the best thing you can do is think through the choice, go to option A, option B via your script. So keep it super simple. Is it strange that I don't really notice many different junkie thoughts? I only notice thinking about long streaks and that it's been a week now and that I'll surely relapse soon.
yeah. Same
Same
thing.
old. Yeah. Engage.
You're putting energy into that, you know, it's just going to always end in the same place.
Yeah, it is. Is engaging in this compulsive behavior. Oh, right. Is engaging in this compulsive behavior. Sorry. Is engaging in this
It's
behavior compulsive?
rudimentary. That's
Yeah.
rudimentary questioning.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
rudimentary.
I'm starting to question if I'm doing something wrong. So yeah, again, if you're thinking about maybe a different behavior that isn't necessarily porn, if you're here for porn, and you're questioning it, then it is again part of the addiction, and therefore
Yeah.
use your script. It doesn't actually really matter what you do. Let's say, let's say you're scrolling on your phone or you eat too much food, something like that. That matters less than the fact that you had the compulsion going on. So what I mean is, if you're questioning yourself because you're eating too much food, that's addiction. Another person might eat too much food, but they're not questioning it at all, and therefore it's not
Right.
addiction.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
the behavior isn't the problem. The thoughts, the compulsion, that's the problem. And therefore, we want to go to the script for every behavior because if we don't use it for every behavior, then we're just going to end up stuck in the addiction essentially. Okay.
Yeah. And how's it going to hurt you to use the script? I mean,
Yeah.
it's just not. There's no damage that you're going to do.
Yeah.
Oh, am I using the script? I've had people say, "Am I using the script compulsively?" It's like, oh goodness, yeah,
Can't
yep,
do
yep.
any damage. Yeah. So even if you're unsure, honestly, just use the script because using the script is changing your neural pathways. It's doing work and it's going to give you what you want because you're going to say, I want option B. So literally no harm in reading it
Well,
too often. There's no such thing as reading it too
interestingly,
often.
had a client. I mean, it gets really super analytical, right? We're talking about willpower versus using the script and resistance. And I said, well, not acting on it is what changes the neural pathways, right? So then the question was, well, isn't well, if you're willing it out, streak on a streak or whatever, you're not acting on it. So doesn't that change neural pathways? Now you see how we get into this whole, more and more and more questioning when the thing is yeah, you're willing it out and maybe you're not acting on it, but you're not installing and applying rational thinking that is connecting to the compulsive desire, getting out of deprivation thinking, and reinforcing the reality of addiction, all of that. But the thing is what this got this person to do was not use the script. Oh, because in trying to question it and analyze it. Well, if I can just will it out and I'm still gonna, change neural pathways. The ultimate result was not using the script.
I've
That's
got
where
it
it went.
here. I've got it here. It's one of the things I added today. So
Oh
just,
yeah,
just trying to make sure I understand how the beyond compulsion method repairs the addiction
right. Yeah.
pathways. My understanding is that by using the script in moments of wanting to engage my compulsive behavior is when the neural pathways get repaired over time. And that
Mm-hmm.
reason for this is the script enables me to actively make a choice based on thinking through the consequences of engaging and or the positive attributes of not engaging. If I'm correct in misunderstanding, it is important when reading the script to let my thoughts engage my mind in the real choice that I have to actively make the choice when reading the script. I guess what I'm trying to understand is the script is not some magic formula. It's actually the enabling the choice, which is where the healing comes in. How is this different than white knuckling it as you're not engaging in the behavior, but obviously the neural pathways are not changing? Now, honestly, that's sending my head completely, spinning all over the place. I'm not going to try and understand that. It's been a long day. I've been working on this all day, right? So
Yeah.
I don't see any value at all in even thinking through this because it's not going to help me because I know if I was having any of these thoughts, I know exactly what I'd do. I'd just read my scripts because obviously
Right. But
we're trying
but
to understand.
looking at this, you
Yeah.
see how much this person's got a big brain going on. It's like this is so analytical, sounds
Smart guy.
so rational. It is so the addictive part of the mind posing as the rational self. Because it even got me thinking, and then I was just like, oh my God, what? But getting sucked into it. But ultimately, okay, so if it's not any different than white knuckling, which we can't, you know, spend any more time on that, then don't use the script. Just white knuckle it, right? So it's ultimately gets the person to not use the script. That's what's
Mhm.
happening.
That's where it
So
ends. That's where every
yeah,
single question on this board will end, is one way
yeah,
or another, it's ending in not using the scripts and going back into the addiction.
yeah,
Literally it's option A. So
yeah.
that's the alternative to using the scripts in those
Have I
moments.
mentioned the word vortex?
Not yet.
Yes, I have. Like every constantly. Think about the vortex. What happens to the house that gets sucked into the tornado's vortex?
Let's
It
go.
gets shot out the top in a million pieces.
Exactly.
Yeah,
More questions create more questions.
that's
More
right. So
reminds me of
do
that song.
yourself a favor, people. The minute you hear the questioning, don't
Is
even
this
question the question. Is
yeah.
this a question? No. Question. Go to the script. You're thinking about your compulsion on some level. It has a million little tributaries that all want to lead you back to engaging in the behavior. So just nip it in the bud. Use the script. And even if
Absolutely.
you want to use, I used to have it for my food people is I know, period. Not knowing is not the problem. I know what's going on. I'm going to A and B. I'm going to my script. I'm going to make a choice in this moment because this questioning is part of my compulsion.
Hmm.
Neural pathways that need to get changed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's go through some more. So is
Yeah.
this actually a junkie thought or a junkie feeling? Again, what does that even mean? I mean,
Yeah.
it just is not relevant to changing neural pathways at all.
Well,
I,
there's some value to looking at the ridiculousness of it,
mm,
because of the questioning, because you can just see, when you're using your script, the addictive part of the mind, it's like, oh, okay, I got nowhere to go here. So it
mm,
starts to get desperate and ask ridiculous questions. Anything it can to try to hook you into the spin. That's what it does. So it's
yeah,
doing its job.
absolutely. Again, this is a very common one. I haven't used my script much today.
Yes.
I'm like being sort of complacent, that kind of thing. So if you're thinking about using your script, why not just use it instead of feeling terrible just thinking about using it?
Yeah. You're
Simple.
thinking about your compulsion on some level. If you're thinking about using your script and if you've been complacent, you're not thinking about whether you need to change the oil in your car, You need to you're thinking about the compulsion. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So yeah, let me see if we've got some more. We've got quite a lot. Have other people also had this experience? Am I doing this right? I've had people ask me about my experience quite a lot as well. And I think
Yes.
sometimes they want to know about my experience just to make sure they're doing things correctly. I get that completely. But again, in that moment, if you're thinking about someone else's experience and how they did when it came to changing their neural pathways, on some level, you're probably comparing and it's probably going to get you to, okay, well, maybe he did it in a way that's different to me. So I've not done it perfectly. So may as well engage with porn. It's probably going to go there on some level, right? So again, let's just go straight to the scripts. Keep it super, super simple. Right, let's see what this one is. I will get tempted on an image that isn't necessarily suggestive, but it just triggers me. I've just been scrolling past them quickly and then using the script. Is this the right approach? Any thoughts on that, Mary?
It's just another version of the same thing.
Hmm.
When you see a question mark at the end, go to your script.
Yeah. Another thing I'd say as well is I had someone today actually message me saying, I don't know, followed by some information. And
Mm.
I sort of rephrased it and helped him reframe it as actually, you do know. Like,
Yeah.
that's another thing I'd just watch out for is if you're saying to yourself, I don't know something, chances are you do know. And it's the addictive part of the mind. But anyway,
I know, period. Not knowing is not the problem, gang.
yeah.
The problem is the problem is not knowing how to stop yourself when you know you're in that compulsive head, right?
Hmm.
You don't know how to stop yourself. You haven't known how, but now you do. You have a script. You can think it through. Option A, option B, make your choice. If it persists, go back to the top, wanting to engage in my compulsive behavior right now, and then all the way through. Yeah.
Another common theme we have is along the lines of is it a relapse and people trying to figure that thing out, or if someone has chosen to engage, they're then spinning out thinking about that engagement all the time and questioning that and wanting clarity. It's a very common one. So talk you through another one, which is quite a long junkie thought, but it's all part of the same thing again, right? So we've got how do I classify what happened? Was it a fall? There's no such thing as a fall or a slip up as we know. But anyway,
Right.
Maybe leave that for another message, but another video. But yeah, was it a failure? Was it a slip? Was it a relapse? Was it nothing? Does it matter? Are these unanswerable questions? Is this junkie thinking? Is this the spin? Did I flunk out of the program? Did I blow all of my progress? And so back to square one. So that was all in one. That was all one message, right? And again, that's the vortex. I mean, that's a long
It's a great
clip.
example of what happens when you engage with the first question.
Yeah.
It just spirals out of control.
Yeah. And I'm writing down like the option A, option B. What I mean by that is just essentially go to your script instead of engaging with these questions. And we want to go to the script here, like right away. That first question
Yeah.
comes up. Why not go to your script in that moment instead of sort of waiting around, like just waiting for more questions or waiting for clarity on something. Like literally just go to the script, the first question. Otherwise, you're going to feel terrible and have like all of these additional questions that just keep on
Yeah.
going on and on and on, all getting you into helplessness and feeling awful, and then choosing to engage because ultimately you're not actually using your scripts and going through the option A, option B, which is simply your two options. That's all it is. It's just very simple. So I don't know if this is junkie thinking. Maybe I just looked at some mild nudity and then I won't obsess over sex so much. Oh, so this was the junkie
Maybe
thought.
if I just, yeah,
Yeah, maybe if I just look at some mild nudity, then I'm not going to obsess over sex so much. If I could
yeah,
just sit with it for a minute, then I'd realize that it's not such a big deal. So again, it's questioning, it's completely minimizing the consequences, it's denying the reality of addiction entirely. And in that moment, if you have got a question about, I don't know if this is junkie thinking or not, well, choose to use your script because chances are it will be junkie thinking if you're questioning it because the question indicates it's the addictive part of the mind.
yeah. And it's questioning is junkie thinking.
Hmm.
It's just disguised, you know?
Yeah. Just
Yeah.
just posing as the rational mind. So
Okay.
if
If you have
you
flashbacks, huh?
if you have flashbacks in your mind of porn, is it engaging in your compulsive behavior if you can't stop thinking about like certain videos or images? Okay. Well,
I know who
again,
that was.
how do we answer that, right?
Yeah.
It's
No, you
unanswerable.
can't. Yeah.
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 No one in
It's
the
just
world can give you a direct answer, yes or no,
no,
any of these questions. So
no.
you're going to have 1,000 different opinions on the internet for most of these questions. You could ask 1,000 different people, get different answers from everyone, or you can actually do some work, change your neural pathways correctly by using your scripts the moment the question comes up.
Yes.
Okay, so we've already covered that first one about questioning the method, but there's quite a lot of other ones about questioning the method or the process or if the script's working correctly and things like that. So let's go through some more of these. Is my script okay? Should I change my script? If my script is not perfect, will I relapse? Do you revise your script or have you kept it the same? That was a question for me personally. Do you
Hmm.
use your script even if you have no urges or only when you do? So again, if you've had a Liberation Day call with me and Mary, you've got your script set up and you're good to go. Simple as that. So then it's a case of option A, option B from there, for as long as you have the desire. And that's as simple as that. You don't need to change your script or anything like that.
Yeah.
And here's me
And
almost engaging with the question now, you see.
and recognize questioning yourself is the desire.
Yeah.
Even though it doesn't seem like it because you're not like, oh, I want to get on this porn site right now. Want to do it. It's
Mm,
the questioning is all part of the compulsive neural pathways.
hmm
It really kind of pisses me off that this addictive mind is so shrewd like that, working against our people, posing. It's a poser, posing as the rational self. You poser, stop it. These guys
Yeah.
want to get free. Stop it.
Yeah. I mean, it is hard for people. This spin is in my opinion, it's the hardest thing really,
It's
is just the
insidious.
constant questions. It's really difficult, but fortunately, that difficulty goes away when you choose to just not engage with them and read the script.
Go
That's
right to the
what you
script.
want to do. I also think there's probably some value in writing it down. In fact, I would say to anyone, write down your questions as well, because once you wrote it out, after you've read your script, then you can just be like, oh yeah, there's another question. It's it's just like the junkie thinking and the man behind the curtain. It's the same concept. It is a junkie thought. So on some level, it's trying to get you to engage, but there's nothing to be afraid of. It's
But
just
it's
the way it
disguising
works.
itself because, like you've said in the
Yeah.
past, you know straight up, oh God, I want to use the porn. That's real obvious, right? So
Mm.
you go to your script, right? So the addictive part of the mind's got to find some shrewd way in the back door, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
Exactly. So can I do this indefinitely? That's in the context of using the script. Is the script really working? And then it
Mm.
ends in what's the point? So
Yeah.
again, that's where these sort of questions will take you. Starts off quite innocent. Can I use the script indefinitely? Is it really working? Well, what's the point? And then fuck it, may as well choose to engage. I feel
It's so
like
funny because, like, I love the way, go back down a skosh. Yeah. Can I do this indefinitely? I love when the addictive part of the mind, when it's posing as the rational self, it pulls words from the script. Can
mm,
I do this indefinitely? It's
yeah,
like, it's,
yeah,
yeah. And the thing is so many of the guys we work with, they're so smart.
mm,
It's like, come on, see this stuff. You can do this. You
yeah.
you don't have to fall prey to this. But you said write down the question. Yeah, maybe the first one, but don't engage with the second one. Go to option A, option B. What do you want for yourself? Yeah.
Yeah, on that point
Yeah.
as well, I'd always say just read your script first. That's the first thing to do. Read your script, and then you can write down the question, like the first
Sure.
one, just to see the the rationale behind it, just to see how ludicrous the
Yeah.
question really is.
Yeah.
Because especially if you ever have like your remember letter and then you look at your remember letter, you read that, and then you look at one of these questions, it's like, what? Like, these questions are just so not relevant to the reality of me in my moment choosing, like, what am I choosing to do and why? Well, I'm choosing to change my neural pathways, right? That's all we're trying
Yeah.
to do. So it's keeping it simple. I feel like saying I know what's reasonable. I feel like saying I know what's reasonable could easily be a cover for poor behavior. If I
Ooh,
knew what was reasonable, would I have ended up in this state? And would I really be paying people if I already knew what was reasonable? So again,
wow.
it's just the addictive part of the mind.
That one is just like so ripe for helplessness.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that one is it's shrewd. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's it. Is if you're questioning if something's reasonable or not, that just means that the addictive part of the mind's in control in that moment. Like it's trying to take control anyway. It's asking you questions. It's compulsion. That's what's going on. And so
Well,
you
it
can't answer
wants you to go to I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. And if I don't know, I'm helpless.
it. Mm,
You don't know what's reasonable, so go ahead and, do whatever.
yeah,
It's
exactly.
yeah, it's the same, but it's just another version of trying to engage you with questioning.
Yeah.
Like I said, our clients are really smart. So of course, the addictive part of their mind is going to be it'll be smart and creative. But
Hmm.
so identify these things by the question. That makes it simple.
Yeah.
You're questioning yourself. That's your addictive mind posing. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's important to realize as well that this is all just part of it. So you will have these questions. Like there's nothing wrong with having these questions.
Yeah.
It's just you want to choose to disengage from them to change the neural pathways correctly and really take control. Because if you're letting the addictive part of the mind spin you out, have all these questions, and you're getting sucked in, then you're not taking control. And we want you to take control and go through your script.
Can I tell just a little story? I was
Yeah,
teaching
sure.
a class at Providence Hospital years ago. And there was a group of nicotine addicts, right? And this one woman was developmentally disabled, and I thought, oh boy, is she going to be able to grasp these concepts, right?
Mm.
And I'll tell you what, she took instruction. She didn't question anything. She did was use her script because I said, and because she was very agreeable to the process. But she, like I say, she was developmentally disabled, so she wasn't really. questioning anything. She just did exactly what I told her, had her script, read her script, and successfully stopped using nicotine, which is a very difficult thing to do,
Mm,
so it's, but these, when you're really these intelligent humans we're working with, they get pretty creative.
yeah,
Good at that. Yeah.
yeah, definitely, definitely.
Yeah.
And I'd like to think I'm reasonably smart, and I'd say, it's the spin and the questions and this way
Mhm.
of thinking really, which has been the hardest thing for me, since I learned the method. It's definitely the spin because the addictive part of the mind, as we've said, it's not going to just go, I want to look at porn. It's going to try get you into helplessness, deprivation, get you
Yeah.
into a bad place where you're feeling a lot of discomfort and you're unsure of yourself. So let's go
I
through.
love this. I love this next one.
What's that?
Why not think the addictive mind's ideas are just as valid as the rational mind's ideas? Because it's all the same person, me. Yeah. And so why try to make the addictive mind become weak? Now, this one is, if someone's having some success using their script, this is a very perfect example of the addictive part of the mind getting desperate and putting out some ridiculous crap.
Mm.
That's just like, okay, yeah, well, but see, even trying to engage with these questions or try to rationalize or answer these questions makes my head want to explode.
I was just about to say the same thing now. It's so weird.
Like,
I was literally reading this one and I was thinking the exact same thing you
me,
said. It's
me and
crazy.
you, our brains are going to be on the screen, just exploded, right? Yeah,
Yeah. I was literally
yeah.
just about to say, like, I read that just then again, and I honestly just don't know the answer. I don't know the answer. And I
There
don't
is
know the
no answer
answer.
to that because
Yeah,
it's
like literally you
straight
look at
up bullshit.
all these questions and I'm like, I don't know the answer to most of them, but I don't need to know the answer to any of them. And that's the
There
great,
is no answer.
yeah,
It's just
crazy.
bullshit. Okay. Yeah, I love that. You want to put option A and option B next to that one? You can
Yeah,
give
yeah,
it that
yeah.
much
Let's
credit.
let's just
Oh,
go
goodness.
straight to the
I love
script,
this.
So is there anything else I can do outside of using the script to help improve willingness? What else can I
Well,
do to
that
help join
one,
the script?
you can use what am I choosing to do and why. That'll help your willingness. We can kind of answer that one, sort of. Or what else can I do to help during recovery? See, the thing is that one is, what else can I do? Well, you don't want to do anything else when you're in the moment of compulsive desire, which is this question indicates you're in that head, right? So go to
Mm,
your script with that. And then once you feel free and you've really applied your script during
mm.
those critical moments and withdrawal and the peaks of withdrawal, then maybe you want to do some nice things for your life. Once you are really feeling on top of this and feeling free and feeling like you're beyond compulsion, then yeah, enjoy that freedom and maybe do things that you didn't normally do because you were too busy trying to stop your addiction or engaging in your addiction, or it's just a
Mm.
full-time job having an addiction. So yeah, once you're free of it. But if you're thinking to help your recovery, then obviously you're in that head. So go to your script. Option A.
That's what I was gonna say. That's why I was zooming in on the help join recovery part because that was the second message here. And I think, yeah, we can start thinking about the future once we're beyond compulsion. But at this
Yeah,
point, I remember this client and I remember him wanting to do everything he could to not read his scripts. And that's just classic, right? And he was trying to think of doing other things. So we've had people before who are like, yeah, maybe I should meditate, I should hit the gym, maybe I need to stay busy, all of these things. And
yeah,
again, if you're thinking in that mindset of, is there anything else I can do to, improve my willingness? Maybe take a cold shower or something, experience more discomfort in a different way. It's like, no, the only thing you need to do is choose to read your scripts because that's how we're going to change the addicted neural pathways, which we're here to change. So, yeah,
yes,
keep it
sir.
super simple.
Okay.
All right. Are things even better now than before I started using the scripts? Oh, are things even better now than before I started using the scripts? As in, things haven't really changed. So, what's the point? May as well engage again. That's where that's heading.
Well, I
Okay.
wonder if that person had engaged and tried to get away with it.
Probably. probably
Probably, yeah.
back
Because,
then.
you
There.
know, the thing is in that situation, when you engage, you hand the addictive part of the mind an arsenal of, you know, weaponry to use against you. And so it can convince you that things are not going to be better.
Mm.
But the reason they're not better is because you engage. So it's, you know, I would say that person probably engaged. And yeah. And the thing is if people engage, that there's still only one way to go, you know?
Yeah, and that's what I was probably leads us on to this next one really is like, is the script working? You know, I think even if things aren't better right now for you, or maybe you have chosen to engage, well, after that, what do we do from here? It's like, do we then go, is the script working? Because that's where the brain's going to go. That's where the addictive part of the mind's going to go anyway. Or do we
Right.
just trust the process, use the scripts, get back in control, keep it simple?
Yep. Keep it simple.
Yeah.
100%. Yes.
Got a few more over here actually. All or nothing thinking. So I engaged. Now does that mean I'm at square one again? Why do I keep doing this to myself? So quite similar to what I was just saying there is,
Well, you
you
can
know,
go on Google and see why you keep doing this to yourself, you know. But the
yeah.
thing is it's still the same. If you want to get free, you apply the script. Either you're going to take control or the addictive part of the mind is going to remain in control.
Hmm. Yeah.
It's simple. It's like you, and it's going to remain in control until you take control.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
that doesn't mean take control some of the time, engage some of the time.
Mm.
That's not, that's trying to control an addiction. That's not stopping an addiction. That's trying to control an addiction, which is exactly what people have been doing forever on no fap streaks.
Yeah.
But the
Yeah.
script, if you want the permanent change, the script is going to facilitate that. Yeah.
Yeah, I think this bit about, why do I keep doing this to myself as well? The only thing I would say about that one, obviously we don't really want to, in fact, we want to actively choose not to engage with these questions. Otherwise, we
Yeah.
will get sucked into the spin and that will be unproductive and actually detrimental to our client success. But what I would say about this one is the reason you've chosen to engage is due to compulsive desire. And that's the only reason. Your
Yeah.
mind is involved in a psychological, emotional dependency on a mind's mood altering experience. That's the only reason. That's the only reason it ever will be. Now, fortunately, we can change that desire of compulsivity, that addicting your pathway. We can change that relationship that you have with this compulsive behavior. And we do that through the script. So choose to use the script and your brain will change
And
instead of questioning why
why do
you.
I keep doing this to myself? Because you're doing it to yourself. And when you do it to yourself, you want to do it to yourself. It's like
Mm,
wanting, engaging creates more and more and more and more wanting. I was working with this person who keeps engaging, but then wants to keep trying. I'm like, well, the thing is nothing is good. As long as you keep engaging, nothing is going to overpower that, no matter what you do. But if you use your script and you choose to stop engaging, then there's a path forward. Otherwise, otherwise you can throw everything you want at it, you know. And if you keep engaging, you just keep teaching the addictive part of the mind that that's what you're going to do,
yeah.
intermittently reinforcing it, and it knows. So it just keeps on the wanting, the wanting, the wanting, and you're exhausted, you know.
Mhm.
So anyway, that's
Yeah.
kind of off on a different track. So sorry.
Yeah, no, it's true that I mean the wanting creates more wanting. So if you're questioning
Yeah.
why you're doing it to yourself, it's because you've done it before and
Yeah.
it creates more desire. So I feel like I've
It's
disappointed myself, my loved ones, both of you. What do I do now? Well, let's just go
option
back to
A,
the
option B.
process. Option A, option B. Use the script. You've got everything you could ever need to overcome this problem for good. And don't worry about
Yeah.
me,
And
Mary. It's for you, not us.
sorry, the what? Yeah, exactly. What do I do now? Okay, that's one of the absolute rudimentary benefits that comes out of Liberation Day, completing your script. You no longer have to ask yourself, how am I going to solve this problem? The work is all done. It's right there in front of you. All you do is read it through willingly on a regular basis. Every time you're faced with questions, every time you're faced with desires, whatever, you don't have to ask yourself, what do I do? How am I going to deal with this? How am I going to get over this addiction? All of that gets to go away. I've done it. I've done it. Here it is. It's documented right in front of me. I've done that work.
Mm,
and pat yourself on the back and use it, you know?
yeah, exactly. How far can I go without fully relapsing?
Oh
So,
boy. That's another, my head just exploded again. I pick my brains off the screen here. Be like,
yeah, I've had
well,
one like this one before, to be honest
I
with
was
you,
just gonna make a bad joke, but
Please don't.
Have you seen Pulp Fiction?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, where they blow the guy's brains, yeah, brains everywhere. Sorry.
You reminded me of Pulp Fiction the other day. Remember when you were talking about that burger that was a bit salty? It really reminded me of Pulp Fiction. I was like,
The
this
coffee
is,
scene,
yeah,
or which,
yeah, yeah.
or the burger scene where they're dancing in the.
No, the one where he's like, this is a tasty burger. You remember
Oh
that
yeah,
scene?
right. This is
Yeah,
a
yeah, yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Because
You
we
know
was
what?
on, yeah,
I love that movie so much.
it's a good movie.
I've seen it a number of times. But it's like it gets you to laugh at really horrifying stuff. You know, it's Tarantino has a way, you know, of,
Mm.
and then you find yourself laughing at this horrifying stuff, going, "What's wrong with me?" You know, but he's brilliant. I love his films. So yeah,
Anyway, let's not get too off track, right? So,
right
what
off the
difference?
track.
What
Get
difference
on
does
the
it?
track.
Well, yeah, get on the track of option A, option B. Don't
Yes.
do what me and Mary are
Change
doing.
the track.
Yeah, start talking about irrelevant stuff. So,
Yeah,
what
sorry.
difference does it make if I look for 1 second or 1 minute? Okay. Well, again, if you're looking for 1 second, you're choosing to engage. If you're questioning, you're wanting to engage. So, if you wanted to engage, use the script, option A, option
Well,
B.
maybe we could ask, but go zoom back in on that 1 second, one
Okay.
minute.
Go on then. What?
How about what if I look for 5 seconds
What
or
if you
six
look for 10
seconds
seconds?
or 20 seconds
What if you look for 5 minutes?
or you know, what the
What
hell?
What if you look at some sexual content but you don't masturbate? What if you look at porn but it's friendly, organic, homemade porn? I don't know. There'll be some shit there, right? There's this website called, I won't even say the name of it. It's so stupid, but there's a website.
Wholesome porn.
Yeah, it's basically that. It's like porn that's being produced like in a good way, and I'm like, what? Like this is so bad still. Like anyway, I could talk about how wrong that is all day. In my
Yeah,
opinion, like I just think for most people are going to be addicted to it, and addiction is
yeah,
addiction. So let's
right
overcome the
on.
addiction, right? Anyway, conflated thinking. This is quite a common one. This is sort of stuff I've had quite a bit to before, as I say, the sort of all these other things, compulsive, when again it's just getting me off my script, it's getting me away from option A, option B. If I'm
Mhm.
thinking about have I listened to too much music, well, it's just what am I why am I thinking about am I listening to too much music? I'll tell you why. It's because in that moment I'm wanting to engage in my compulsive behavior. So I'm going to read my script in that moment, right? Simple as that. What else we got? I had a lot of a struggle today with looking out in public, like looking at, I think, girls like women or whatever out in public, or maybe men. I'm not sure what the junkie thinking is there. I just know
Yeah.
that I'm not comfortable with what I was doing. I'm sure it was wrong. I guess I'm not supposed to question it, but I know that I want to do what's right, and I don't think I did that. So I don't think I did do what's right. I want to know what is right. I don't feel driven by the questioning to act out. I feel driven by the questioning to find out what is right.
Oh my God.
Again, this is just one message. So, okay, it's all started off with
My head
looking at
exploded again.
people in public. So just start off here. If you're thinking about, oh, have I spent too much time thinking about people out today in public?
Yeah.
Let's just use the script because you're wanting to engage instead of going down this route, going back and forth. I want to know this, I want to know that. I'm not sure about this, I'm not sure about
Yeah.
that. It's just a waste of energy, it's a waste of time, and it's getting you so far away from your script and option A, option B. Okay.
Yeah, and I
Um,
see these other ones in here. Am I eating compulsively? All the other kind of like substitute questioning whether you're substituting. The
mm,
thing is like if you choose to go to your script,
mm,
you get to have that benefit of not questioning yourself about all the behaviors that you have in your life. It's like, who wants to live in that state of mind, constantly, oh, is this, and this, that. Just live your life and make choices that serve your long-term health, happiness, and peace of mind as a second nature, as a way of being, not something you got to question everything you do, is like,
Yeah.
just live, live and let live.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And yeah, I mean, that's one of my old ones. I think
Yep.
if you choose to engage, you're going to have so much more of this questioning as well. And that's why fact three is so, so critical because what I know, if I engage my compulsive behavior even once, my addiction will be back in control indefinitely. So for a lot of people, back in control indefinitely, that's actually going to take the form of all these questions. And so now you can't just go and eat food without thinking about, am I
Yeah.
eating this compulsively or not? And that's just a massive, massive detriment to anyone's life, if you're thinking all the time about all these different questions. So anyway, I'm
Yeah.
sure this one will be an option A, option B scenario. How much of my
Thank
life is actually compulsive? I'm on my phone a lot. Is that compulsive? I don't have Instagram, but I'm scrolling a lot. Is laying in bed with the phone already part of the compulsion? Is this one of those situations I should not put myself in, or is this the type of urge that can make the most change in my brain? What would happen if we just started off
Wow.
here and used our scripts? How much of my life is actually compulsive? Okay, that question, I'm wanting to engage my compulsive behavior. Let's go to this. I know that
Yes, please.
questioning if I'm wanting to engage my compulsive behavior or if my desire is compulsive, is wanting to engage my compulsive behavior. What am I choosing to do and why? Well, I'm wanting to engage my compulsive behavior right now. Go through the script. Do you
Yeah,
want to go through
choosing
the next
to
one? Yeah.
take any opportunity, any of these questions, all the stuff about substituting, doing other
Mm,
Instagram, scrolling, la, 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 la. You know, you want to get free of addiction, right? So then you're in a position to be able to be reasonable with all of these other things that you do. And I can just hear the guys, well, how do I know what is reasonable? Oh, yeah, sorry. Yeah, I think you're going to put an A and B there, aren't you?
how do I turn my sexual desire into something else? So my sexual desire, it was 100% tied to my compulsion then. That was like a follow-up question.
Yeah, you can't answer this question.
If you're thinking about turning your sexual desire into something else and you've got a question like that, you are wanting to engage in your compulsive behavior. I haven't used the method on the rest of my life yet, but I started to think about it. I wanted to get some time behind the use of it with porn. What do you think of that? Am I correct to assume that it's not about completely not watching YouTube, but asking the question of why?
No.
We talk about what am I choosing to do and why. When we talk about that, we're not saying why am I looking at YouTube. This is
Yeah.
more about zooming out. Okay, in this moment, I'm having these questions. So therefore, what am I choosing to do and why? Well, I'm not gonna engage in all these compulsive questions. Instead, I'm gonna choose to read my script because based on the big picture, or here's my remember letter, or here's my
Yeah.
option A, this is a really critical choice to make in this moment. It's not about trying to understand why you're doing a certain behavior. It's about
Yes, thank
zooming
you
back
for
out.
clarifying that, Tom, because that's super important. Because the thing is this whole why
Mm,
is everything out there with therapy. Why do you do this? Because of your childhood trauma, because of your big empty hole in your life, and because you're not, because you're feeling angry, because you're stressed out, because you're anxious, because you're this, because you're that. Yeah, thank you for clarifying that. When we say what am I choosing to do and why, that has nothing to do with that stuff, with how am I feeling, what is my childhood trauma, all of that. We know why you're doing it. What am I choosing to do and why is using my script because I want the hell out of this addiction.
mm,
That's the why, right?
yeah, exactly.
Because I want this for myself. I want my entire B list. That's why I'm doing this. That's why
Yeah,
I'm engaging with my script. Yeah,
yeah,
perfect.
exactly. And also, don't wait for the opportunity to stop one behavior to then stop other behaviors because really you're just substituting porn out for a different compulsive behavior. And so, if you've got any question about other compulsive behaviors in that moment, you're wanting to engage in one
Yeah.
of your compulsive behaviors and therefore use your
Yeah.
scripts. I mean, the program itself is really set up for all compulsive behaviors. That's why Mary does talk about porn. Well, in fact, I don't know if you even do talk about porn. I mean, you talk about other things though, like nicotine, like food, you
Yeah.
talk about drugs, I think. So
Sex addiction I talk about, but
yeah,
it's been since we've gotten together, it's we have the porn focus, but it's the same thing, you know.
yeah. Because what we're
Addiction,
doing,
addiction, addiction. Mm,
addiction is addiction is addiction. Compulsive desire is compulsive desire. The same method works for all compulsion. And what we're doing here is we're not just trying to stop porn, we're going beyond compulsion because by using this method, using it correctly, doing this work, that is the best possible way for somebody to actually stop porn correctly. So that's why people often join the program. They want to stop porn, like, and have this long-term mental, permanent, permanent mental freedom, right? That's why people do it. To achieve that, we want to go beyond compulsion. So what does that mean? We want to stop all of these, compulsive thoughts going round and round and round and just get super clear on, okay, well, what am I choosing to do and why based on the big picture in this moment? I'm wanting to engage my compulsive behavior. Let's go through the script and just use the script. And then what happens is eventually you'll get to a position where you don't have all of this questioning because you've gone beyond compulsion.
hmm
And at that
Yeah,
point, you really are going to experience something you probably never experienced before. You'll experience
yeah,
peace of mind. And that's
yes.
what we're working towards.
Can
So
I have sex at this point in my recovery? So this is interesting. So the thing is if you are choosing to abstain from sex while you're getting clarity and getting beyond your porn addiction, that's a mental stance. Okay, that's what this is where it's a choice. This is what I'm doing. But if you engage in this question, you're trying to figure this out, which is not you can't really do. The addictive part of the mind is going to go, no, you can't. And you know
mm,
what the next question is going to be? Well, will I ever be able to have sex again? And then there you
mm,
go. I'm never going to be able to have sex again. This is ridiculous. It's completely off the track.
yeah,
If you're choosing to abstain from sexual contact with humans or whatever, or dating or whatever, because you want to get clear about your addiction, that's a choice. And the thing is when you are free of your addiction, you're not going to have this question. You're going to know that a sexual relationship with a person is not a compulsive. You're just going to know. You do know, and it's boy, that's a loaded question. That'll take you in the spin real quick.
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And again, it's just so far away from like option A, option B, because
Right.
I mean, even now, I'm again trying to answer that question, and I just know that it's getting me into that spin, that vortex, and it's unanswerable. Once again, I can't say to anyone, "Yeah, have sex at this point" or "have sex at that point," because if we start trying to answer it, we're just part of the compulsion. It's so
Right.
unreasonable to be going around in circles thinking about this, and it's so
Yeah.
different to spontaneous desire, which is, oh, okay. I've just met someone, I really like them, getting on really well. Oh, suddenly, one thing leads to the next. Okay, I want to have sex with her or him
Yeah.
or whatever. You have sex, done, move on with your life. You're not thinking about, can I have sex
Right.
at this point in my recovery? This question would not come up if someone was beyond compulsion. And that's how you
That's
know
right.
it's a spin
Yeah.
question again. So was taking a walk, and whenever I saw an attractive woman, I found myself asking, was that compulsive?
Rudimentary.
Very, very common. Hear this one all the time. So,
Yeah.
asking that question is wanting
Can't
to
answer
believe.
it.
Yeah. Is this energy sexual or is this part of the compulsion? Another
Can't
quite common
answer
one.
it.
How do you differentiate the compulsion from normal sexual feelings?
Can't answer it.
Can't answer that now.
Are we
A
getting
wet
the
dream,
option A, option B down here?
a wet dream is biological or to do with withdrawal?
What does that have to do with anything?
I don't even know. I think that's the thing really as well is that something I've really learned over the last 12 months working with you is that you have helpful thought patterns and you have unhelpful thought patterns. So all these thoughts that we're talking about here are incredibly unhelpful,
Yeah,
unproductive, leading people away from the thing they actually want, which is going to be peace of mind and permanent mental
yeah.
freedom. So we could
Not
try and
answerable.
explore and try answer, but it's just going to be unhelpful. It's literally going to be detrimental to people. So
100%.
Let's carry on. So, future thinking.
Yeah.
What do I do if the discomfort lasts for days? Surely you can't just read your scripts every moment of the day. What do you do in those moments? Mary, take this one away because I think this is quite a common one as well.
Well, the thing is the discomfort, if you're not using your script, really connecting to it and really accepting and really getting through those peaks of withdrawal, you know, what usually causes this comfort to last for days is substituting, is not applying the script effectively when the desires are super intense, when the junkie thinking is really pervasive, and all of the characteristics of the peaks of withdrawal. If you use your script, that discomfort's not going to last for days.
Mm,
It's just not going to happen.
yeah,
And
yeah.
the thing is here I am, listen to me, answering the damn question. Like,
But
uh,
it
it
is
doesn't
kind of in.
matter. You're going to use your script when you start asking this question.
Yeah.
Use it then. Surely you can't just read your script every moment of every day.
To be honest with you, I wanted to answer this one as well, though. I feel like these questions, they can really like suck you in. Like you want to answer them. They're created
I
in a way
know.
by design, right? So, I think I've been guilty of probably answering clients' questions
I
before,
know.
maybe about
Me
9 months
too.
ago. Yeah, like at the start, it's easy to fall for that trap, but
Yeah.
that's the thing is like, that's it's part of the mind just doing its work. It's natural, it's
Yeah.
part of it, and it's just about being aware of that. So how am I going to keep
It's
this?
all in the future. It's all just, you
Yeah,
know, the, if the discomfort lasts if it's going to last for days, it's all in the future. It's option A, option B. I mean, we're starting to sound a little bit like a broken record, but that's okay.
yeah,
How am I
exactly.
going to keep this up? Same thing. How many days? It's not relevant.
Yeah,
Option A, option B.
streaks as well. If you're thinking about no
Yeah,
fap streaks, so you're counting the days or you're
yeah,
measuring your progress in that way, that's all part of the spin. It's all
yeah.
compulsive. Any streak at all is compulsive. I've realized that now, like very, very clearly, that it's all just part of the addiction. So literally no value at all in
Well,
thinking
and the thing
about
is, there's straight up junkie thinking in the future that'll make you feel anxious. But now let's add the spin to let's make it a question
it.
in the future, questioning the future. Now you can get super anxious.
Mm,
All can be avoided by going to your script in the moment that you're questioning, is it going to really be temporary?
yeah.
Is you can't answer these questions.
Is this discomfort really going to just be temporary? Yeah, as you say, can't answer that. I
Yeah.
mean, it is. It is. I want to answer that because it is going to be temporary. But in that moment, it's going to make you feel like it's not temporary. It's going to make you feel like it's going to last forever. And so, may as well get out of it. May as well engage my compulsive behavior, right? That's where that
Yeah.
question again leads.
Where
So,
it leads.
yeah. Can I keep up using the script this often? Absolutely. Because again, it is temporary discomfort and you will change your neural pathways.
Yeah.
So, don't try and engage with that.
But the question, you can't answer that question.
Mm,
Can I keep? I don't know what you can do and what you can't do.
yeah. Yeah.
We're not like, I don't know, we don't have that kind of superpower to be able to
True.
predict the future of everything you can do during no, sorry. I can't answer that.
Yeah. Will I be in this cycle forever?
Same thing. We can't
Yeah.
we can't predict the future.
When when we successfully rewire our brains here, will the constant, never-ending, slow-burning
Oh
feelings
boy,
of wanting to engage in the compulsive behavior ever finally go away?
you bring another A and B down
Yeah, I mean, if you're thinking about the future, you are wanting to engage in your compulsive behavior in that moment.
right
I've
now.
read
Yeah,
quite a few books on
back one.
addiction, and quite a lot of them do say, and obviously our method is different to any other method that I've read, but in terms of the actual like science on addiction, I've read quite a lot that talks about how when you're in an addiction, you're always in the future or in the past, and you find it harder than the average person who's not in an addiction to get present in the moment, right? So it doesn't surprise me that so many of these
Yeah.
questions are about the
Well,
future on some level.
that last one, yeah, it's going to go away. That's the whole point, right? But spending time thinking about that into the future is
Mm.
not going to get you to that point.
because the changes are made in the present moment. So the changes
Right.
in the addictive neural pathways are made right now, here, in this
Yes.
moment. They're not made at some point in the distant future or in the past.
Yeah.
The moment right now is all we have. Like, it literally is all we have. So minimizing the spin, is this really even a problem? Why am I even doing this course? I don't feel regret. I'm not upset with myself. I'm being too hard on
I don't
myself.
know what that means.
Why am I even fighting it? Essentially, this is about, kind of, is this even really a problem? Why am I doing this course? I mean,
Well, then
well,
don't,
yeah,
you
don't
know,
don't do it.
if
Yeah,
you
I
really,
agree.
if it's not a problem, then, go do porn.
Yeah,
We talked about
that's
this yesterday. If it's not a problem, go do it. Who cares?
yeah.
Yeah.
We're not gonna be able to help anyone who doesn't actually want to stop this behavior. So.
What is the last of the questioning here? Script
Script
resistance.
resistance. How do I handle the moments when I slip into a different part of myself when I'm triggered by a situation? My mind wants to go to talking about the child self and rational self here. So ultimately, we want to use the rational self. How do we
Yeah.
use the rational self? Well, I've got some good news. We've got a tool to use the rational part of our brain
I
and
handle the
engage.
moment. Wait, zoom on that again. I want to see that again. Mm, How do I handle the moments? There's no slipping. The script. How do
I
I handle the moments?
I think what this client was getting at though is like slipping into a different part of his mind, as in he's gone from maybe like being in the rational self to being in the child self. So again, this was a client who has a lot of therapy as well. And I think he was talking about, maybe feeling like a different part of himself, like maybe a younger self. But what I would say to that is that
Well,
ultimately, at every single moment, you can always put the rational self in control. You do
right.
through using the script.
If
So
you're in
let
the
go what
child
the minute can
self,
do.
if you're going feeling like your child self, the rational self needs to take control.
Yeah,
Take care of the child. Don't let the child drive the car, but it's questioning.
it is questioning,
Yeah.
and then someone's going to go, well, may as well just let the child self take control, or then that becomes the reason. When actually, moment by moment, the rational self can always, always be in control. You may feel like it's the child self, but
Yeah.
no one can
Yeah. And
ever
why would
take
you let
full.
the
Yeah,
child self take control? Why would you do that? And here we are asking another question. So, yeah.
exactly. I was going to say
Yeah.
no. That's another unanswerable question. No point in it. You will let the
Yeah.
therapists do their job, but it's not going to get people free from compulsive desire. So. Should I go out for a run to clear my mind before I write down my junkie thinking, or should I read my script? Well, obviously, if you're thinking
I'm
about
gonna I'm gonna
that,
go out and for a run and clear my mind in about 2 minutes. Just kidding.
right, think is that
Yeah,
everything?
that's
Oh,
really, really
okay,
great. I think
got a
this
lot.
is really, really great.
Okay, we got a lot there.
I hope it's really helpful to people to really understand this part of this ploy, this very shrewd, deceptive ploy. Yeah,
Yeah,
really great.
absolutely. I
Yes.
think, yeah, the overriding thing is, when that first question comes up, you won't be able to control that first question. It's going to happen. It's not a problem. So I'm just trying to align that. But yeah, it's going to happen. You are going to have that first question. That's okay. It's part of it. What we
Yeah.
want to do is choose to disengage with it, use your script, and we go with, I know that questioning, if I'm wanting to engage in my compulsive behavior, or if my desire is compulsive, is wanting to engage my compulsive behavior. So what am I choosing to do and why? I am wanting to engage my compulsive behavior right now, and I can engage my compulsive behavior. I'm not deprived. So in my mind, what I do, if I've ever had any of these questions, I'm just acknowledging, oh yeah, that's the addictive part of my mind. It's just trying to get me into a spin. It's an unanswerable question. So what am I choosing
Straight
to
to
do?
fact
Why?
one.
Bang.
Straight to fact
Fact
one.
one.
Straight to
Simple.
fact one.
So yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
I
Wonderful.
I do think it's hard going through having all these questions. And I think this is a massive, massive benefit to doing this program is realizing that you don't have to engage with all these questions and you can be free from all of it. And that peace of mind is going to take you, that's what you want essentially. That's why people do this program is to get that peace of mind.
Well, like I said before, working years and years and years with food compulsion,
Mm,
the people were successful with their script. They're like, oh my God, yeah, I can get free of this. But then this shit started, you know?
mm,
And once I identified this and was able to give them that little additional mini script to get out of the questioning, to get them one relevant question, what am I choosing to do and why, back to their script, success increased dramatically
yeah,
with food
yeah.
compulsion. So yeah,
And also, I would say to anyone, if you are watching this, there's a good chance, you're in the program, you're having WhatsApp interaction with me or Mary at the moment as well. So feel free to send us your questions still. We're not here to have any judgment at all of you having
yeah,
these questions. I've probably sent over 50 questions in the last 12 months to Mary, probably more. I've probably sent you over 100 questions in the last 12 months, right? Like when I very first started the program, and then also just kind of things coming up over time. It's okay to have these questions, but they do go away when you just choose to use your script and not engage with them. Engaging with them is just going to create more questions.
yeah, yeah,
So yeah, use the scripts first and foremost, most essential thing. Choose to write down the first question that you had. And then if you are struggling with anything, feel free to send them me and Mary's way. But
yeah.
the real work is on you. Ultimately it's your choice what you do in that moment. And we've told you exactly what to do. So enjoy
100%.
your freedom. All right. Thanks a lot for watching this video. Hopefully it's been useful. And we will see you in the next one. Bye bye.
Next time.